Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club, the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items to cover. First, if you like the episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running. Second, if you are a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, we created an ebook for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All we charge is our admin cost to keep the show running. So, if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says Get the ebook to grab yourself a copy today. So with that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are live. Today we have with us Stephanie Taylor. Stephanie is the co-founder of HMO Heaven and Rent to Rent Success in Wales and the UK. So she comes to us from across the pond. She started her real estate along with her sister Nikki at the age of 45 and has grown their multifamily real estate management business, attracting contracts worth over £2 million, which we just figured out is 2.6 million US dollars. So Stephanie, thank you for hopping on the show today from the UK. How are you today?
I am really good, Gabe, and I have to try not to do my American accent. But it's a pleasure to be with you today talking all things real estate. Absolutely.
And for those of you who don't know, which many of you don't, I was on Stephanie's podcast earlier this week, and we got on at 4:30 a.m. So Stephanie is returning the favor, and we're going to get into everything that she does. So I have a little bit of background information about you already. But for everybody listening and watching, tell them, who you are, how you got started, or where you are, and then how you got started in real estate in the first place.
Yeah, so I'm Stephanie Taylor and I'm here in the UK. I'm in Wales, which is a very beautiful part of the country. I'm actually in the city area, but we are closely connected. It's not too far for us to the coast and to beautiful countryside as well. But as far as real estate is concerned, I didn't get into it until I was in my 40s, as you just said. And I was working a job at a bank, and my mum got really ill. And it just made me look at my life a bit differently because I wanted to be, I just worked out, oh my gosh, if I wanted to go and spend time with my mom, she lives about 2 hours from me, it would be difficult and there must be another way. And I started investigating and going to the real estate meetings and so on. And I was absolutely blown away by all the different strategies that people were using to get involved in real estate. And I realized that there's strategies that you can start off where you don't actually need a lot of money to get started. And that was it. I decided to jump in. And luckily for me, my sister jumped in with me and we just took it from there.
Awesome. No, yeah. And I love it. And I mean, real estate isn't the only thing you do. Obviously, you have a podcast as well in real estate. So you're a woman of many talents right now.
Yeah. So the first thing that we stepped into, just to let you know, Gabe, because I just told you a bit about it when we spoke earlier in the week, which is called Rent to Rent, which is not actually buying real estate. It's a real estate business. And I think you might call it property. Well, I suppose it's property management there as well. You might call it lettings. But it's a bit different to that because we're leasing the properties and then we're subletting them out to other people, all above board. But it means that there's much more margin in it than usually a letting agent would get, about 10% in this country anyway. But with this lease to lease, if you will, rent to rent, as we call it in the UK, you can make a lot more money, but you have to be really good at what you do. And so that's what we started doing.
Awesome. No, and I mean, I love your story for a number of reasons. First, because you got started a little bit, not late in life, obviously, but later
Yeah.
than most people get started
Yeah.
in real estate,
Hmm.
45.
Hmm.
And there's so many people out there who kind of, they are, in their midlife
Hmm.
and they're thinking, it's too late. I can't do this, but that's
Mm.
not the case. You are the proof of this. 45
Yep.
ain't no thing. You can get started at any time in life.
Exactly.
Um, and so, yeah, and your business model, that is something, it makes sense when you told it to me the first time, just clicked. I was like, yeah, of course that makes sense. But it wasn't a thing that I had heard of before.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of rephrase what you told us is, so you basically, you would you would rent out a house, say that has 5 rooms,
Hmm.
and then you'd sublet each one of those rooms
Hmm.
within that contract. So you're never owning the property. You don't have to have that $50,000 down payment. You don't have to go, be on title for any house or anything. You just rent the house from an investor or from a homeowner and sublet it out.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
how did that first come to mind for you? Like, where did
Well,
you?
it's kind of a niche strategy. And I would love to hear from any of your listeners if this happens also in America, because I know that you have the Airbnb model where you
Mhm.
rent a house and put it on Airbnb. But is there the other model where you rent a house and you give people long-term rentals? I'd love to hear. So in the UK, it's called Rent to Rent. And that's also the name of my podcast. It's the Rent to Rent Success Podcast. And so it's a niche strategy. So a lot of people here in the UK haven't heard of it, think that subletting is illegal. And so I heard of it because I started going to these property meetings and I heard about all these different strategies, and this was one of them. And so we just thought, wow, if these people are doing this, and some of the house shares, it's a bit like Friends, you've got your separate bedrooms, but you're sharing your kitchen and your lounge, and some of the house shares in this country are not that nice. So we thought we could do this really nicely, do the places up really lovely. And so that's why we called our business HMO Heaven. So we've taken the houses from hellish to heavenly, and HMO stands for House of Multiple Occupation. So that's how it all went.
I like that. So when you're actually running the business, I mean, how do you have the conversation with the landlord? I mean, I own
Yeah,
multifamily units, and
yeah.
nobody's ever come and said, hey, can I sublease the unit? So how does that conversation usually go?
Yeah. So how it works is what we're offering you or somebody in your position, Gabe, is guaranteed rent, freedom from tenant management, and total peace of mind. So that's what the offering is. And it'll really appeal to maybe a kind of landlords who bought a few properties, didn't realize it was going to be quite as time consuming as it is, or they've had it rented out with a letting agent, but the letting agent really is not coming up to par. So they're finding that they're having to be involved in their property a lot more than they thought. And also, they're often finding that the income isn't at the levels that they thought it was going to be because of empty rooms or maintenance or heating bills. And so that's why when we come along with our proposition, we will pay all the bills. As
Oh,
if
okay.
somebody doesn't pay their rent, that's our problem. So that's really attractive for some kind of investors. Obviously, not for everyone.
Yep. And do you? I'm assuming you just negotiate with the landlord. You negotiate the rent
Mhm.
for the house, obviously not
Yeah.
by the room, and then
Mhm.
you do whatever you figure out market rents for individual rooms.
Yeah.
And when it comes to identifying properties that this works for, because there's some, I'm in Seattle. If you're in Seattle, then I could imagine this working. If you're near any of the
Yeah.
universities, I can imagine this working.
Mm.
But there are some places here in Washington where I feel like you'd have a hard time,
Yeah.
filling those units. So kind of what do you look for when you get these leases? Like, are you, how do you find the leases, I suppose?
The business model is so amazing because you don't need a lot of money to start up. You get a monthly recurring revenue and you get the names and addresses of your perfect customers, because this thing that I mentioned, HMO, House of Multiple Occupation, this specific type of building, there's a lot of laws here about what you can and can't do and what the building must be like and the things that must be happening in the building. So there's a list, and it's a public register of every property and the owner's name and address. So that is the number one way that we find the properties, through writing to the owners of this type of property. And because we know our local area very well, we know which locations within our area to target.
Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I have property managers and I usually pay them about 10% of, the rental income per month to manage the properties. And so obviously you guys are going to get more than the 10%. So what is the margin that you guys are usually looking at when it comes to individual rents?
It can be a lot more. I'll just illustrate with a little story. So one of the first properties we took on was an 8-bedroom property. And at the time when we met the owner, there were only 3
big house.
Yeah, a big house. And there were only 3 people living in it.
Okay.
And there'd only been 3 people for some time. And the owner lived in the next city, and he also ran a different kind of business. He actually has 2 other businesses. He's got a young family. He didn't really like going there. He tried a letting agent, but that letting agent was unable to rent out the other rooms, and he was also losing his 10% as well. So he took back responsibility, but he just didn't want to go there. He sort of buried his head in the sand. He couldn't really sell it because he was in negative equity. He owed more on the mortgage than the house was worth. So when we came along, we can offer more, because that was easy in that case, and guaranteed, and still make a lot of money. So on that particular one, we make £1,200 a month, 1,222 to be exact, is the actuals on year 1 of that property each month after all of the bills. And that's more in dollars. Maybe.
Yeah, let's say 1,500.
Yeah, let's say $1,500 a month that we make. But also he's making, when we first took over the property, he was losing between £800 and £1,000 every month. And after we took over the property, he was getting over $1,000 every month. So he was getting he's actually increased his income on that property by $2,000 a month. But just because we know how to run a property, we're able to offer more than he was originally getting, but still enough that the right amount that we also can make a really good living as well.
That's awesome. No, that's really great. And so if I do the calculation here real quick, I turned it into dollars. So 1,500, we're going to save about 1,500. So you rent out each room at a profit of about $187 per room, which is, killer if you're talking about just rooms. So that's awesome. I mean, I love your model. And you've been doing this, how long have you been doing this for?
Since 2016 we started, so it's just over 4 years, and it's crazy everything that's happened in that time. So any over 40s listening, I think it's great to start when you're a bit older as well. I mean, it's ideal if you start when you're younger, obviously, but the best time to start was yesterday. The second best is now, and you've got so much more experience and knowledge and skill. Well, I would say relationship skills and relationship building, and but I'm still learning every day.
Aren't we all, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So how many properties do you have under your management right now?
Yeah, we've got just over 20 properties and just over 100 tenants. But we also then, Gabe, the exciting part, we started buying properties ourselves.
Oh, okay.
And so we built up our own portfolio and in the last 4 years. And now that's worth just over £1 million. So I'm guessing that won't be quite, about $1.3 million, I think, around there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you could if somebody was listening to this and they hear, I can get into real estate without any money, that's fantastic. What is some advice that you would give that person, like getting into this kind of business model that you guys started?
Yeah, I think it's the first part is actually in your mind. Because you have to start to feel like, this is something I can do. And if you just look around and you start noticing all the people who are in real estate, you realize that not all of them are brain surgeons, rocket scientists, that this is potentially something that you can do as well. And it's actually simpler than you think, because there's actually a step-by-step to everything in real estate. Certainly all the things that you would do as a beginner, there's a step-by-step, and you just follow the pattern that somebody else has set out for you.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to piggyback on that. You just said step-by-step process, follow the pattern that other people have set out for you. And I know you guys, you have your podcast and you also have a course too. So kind of go into how was the podcast? How was launching that? What's the experience you've had there? Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. And I had to speak to myself because, the mindset thing, when we first started in 2016, we were new and very excited. And I was doing little videos on my Facebook, very bad videos, showing people the houses before and after. This is what we're doing. Actually, this isn't a scam. This is the actual thing. This is a real thing. I wasn't teaching any courses or anything. I just wanted people to know, wow, if you felt like you wanted to get out of your job and do something a bit different, this is an amazing thing to try. And so we were just going on doing little how-tos, how to manage the properties, how to look after them, how to do them up, on a budget. And from there, lots of people obviously got interested and were asking more questions. But I was just recommending them to other people to find out more about it and to do training, thinking I don't feel that I could charge somebody for training because, we only started in 2016. But then when people would come back and say, but Stephanie, have you got the offer email template of how you make the offer? What about the letters that you send to the landlord? Have you got them? How do you analyze the deals? And I said, well, did you not go on the course with such and such person? And they would say, well, yes, but that wasn't part of it. That wasn't included. And
dropping
after
the ball,
a while,
course creators.
Sorry?
I said dropping the ball, course creators. And now they're not running the content in there. Yeah.
And sometimes, so I thought, actually, and I saw some of the materials as well. They would show me. And I thought, these are not the proper materials. Nobody's using this. They've created this for the course. I thought, what about if we did one where we actually give all the things that we use in our business?
Yep.
And what about if we actually made it longer so that people can come meet with us every week and get help when they're implementing? So it's not just 1, 2, or 3 days, but it's 3 months. So we're working together and they've got all the information as well. So that was how the idea was born. And we started the Rent to Rent Kickstarter. And it just...
Oh, you did a Kickstarter?
Yeah. No, sorry. What I mean is the program itself, the course is called Rent to Rent Kickstarter, but there was no Kickstarter, no. Although we did sell it before we made it.
Pre-sold it, yep, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I obviously really like your story and I like, everything that you guys have done so far. We are nearing the end of the show. This thing goes so quickly. So I want to thank you for coming on. And then we're going to go into the quick question round. So this is where I'm going to ask you quick questions and you're going to give quick answers. They don't have to be quick. You can go, as long as you want. But first question is books. I'm a big bookie. So if you could give one book recommendation for real estate investing and then one book recommendation just for general life wisdom, what would that be?
Okay. Never Split the Difference. Negotiate as if your life depended on it by Chris Voss. Have you come across that one?
I have been recommended that book a few times. I need to read it. I mean, we're in negotiations for, multi-million-dollar RV mobile home parks right now, and I kind of feel like a newbie. So I do need to pick that up.
Yeah, you will love it. I just love it. I think it's so good. So good.
So that was real estate. And so what
Yeah.
about general life wisdom?
I think the slight edge,
Oh, that's good.
because it just makes you feel like you can always take that next step, and that all those steps are compounding. So even the steps that just seem too small to take actually make a huge difference.
Yep. No, I have read that book, and that is a really good book. I've always liked the idea of just do the small things every single day, and eventually it's going to be a big mountain. So great book recommendations. Thank you very much. Next question, habits. So we all have habits. Habits are the foundation of our life. They are what create our life. If you could point to one habit in your life that you feel has contributed the most to your success today, what would that be?
Conscious thinking. Because all of those decades of mediocrity, let's call it, to be polite, and then the last 5 years, it's just been like a rocket. And the difference is that I've changed my thinking. And I think when you can change your thinking, you can change your life. And it's as simple as that. But it sounds too simplistic to be true, but it actually is.
Yeah, it sounds so woo-woo when you say it, but there is nothing that could be truer. It actually, that's how it works. It's just how it works. Going on into the next question, and this is advice to your younger self. So, if you could go back to the Stephanie who was just getting out of uni, I think is what you call it.
Yeah.
Just getting out of uni, and go to her, sit her down, look her in the face, and give her one piece of advice going forward in life, what would that be?
You have everything you need within you for success. Because a part of the reason why, I've moved on so fast in the last 5 years and not in the preceding 2030 and beyond is because I didn't believe enough. I couldn't see the possibility. And so when you believe that you have everything you need for success within you, it just helps you to move forward with a different momentum.
Yep. No, I love that. I love that. Just believe, and the results will take care of themselves. Not as simple as that, but that's but I like the idea. Okay, places to invest. So if you could pinpoint one place that you really enjoy investing in right now, what would that place be?
Yeah, so obviously this is not going to be relevant to your American listeners, but
Okay.
I invest right here in Newport in the UK. It's near Cardiff, which is the capital city of Wales, and it's near Bristol, which is also a very hot property market. Traditionally, Newport has not been such a hot market, but I think it's really going to take off, and it's fantastic for cash flow.
Cool. I love it. Final question, and this is for people listening, watching. If they wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, well, we have, if you're interested in rent-to-rent success and learning more about that, then there's the Rent-to-Rent Success podcast. And also there's rent2rentsuccess.com, which is the website. And if you want to see some of the before and afters from some of the properties that we've done recently, there's hmoheaven.co.uk. And there's lots of videos on there as well.
Perfect. I will put those URLs in the show notes below. So if you guys want to reach out and get in contact with Stephanie and figure out, or get involved with her course and her podcast that she's got going on over there, click down below and you can say hi. Awesome. Again, thank you, Stephanie, for hopping on. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. We couldn't do this without you. Again, the best way to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends and family. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode and were able to pull some actionable advice that you can go home with and apply to your own investing business. Before you go, I have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your business to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you available on the website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find a deal that's actually a deal, how to finance that deal with little to no money down, and how to exit a deal for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I'm going to bury you in bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. First, you'll get the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating real wealth in real estate. Then you'll get the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools and systems and even the vendors we use to grow our business. After that, you will get the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target leads online and generate leads without having to lift a finger. Next, you'll get the contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all of the contracts we use in the field to execute all types of transactions. After that, you'll get the Investor's Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. Next up, we'll give you the Investor's Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And finally, you will get the Wholesaler's Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. I know that is a ton of things to say. I'm glad you were able to stick with it. So you'll get both the ebook and all of those 7 free bonuses when you download the ebook today. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you are interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page and take advantage of that deal. With that housekeeping item covered, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.